Hi. Okay. So, for those of you who have been following some of my posts on social media, I've been talking about doing a live video just about my story and about like the things that I've struggled with postpartum depression, what I struggle with on a daily basis, not just with postpartum depression. So I have an event that I created on Facebook, and I'm still, of course, kind of in the beginner phase of trying to figure that all out. So I decided that just to make sure that I can reach the most people possible, because I feel like I have an important thing to talk about, I decided to go live on my personal page. So if you're watching this and you were originally planning to attend the event, I'm sorry if I threw you off. I tried to message everyone. So I just wanted to start briefly. I know people are watching, so here we go. But I just wanted to start briefly and talk to you guys about my story. So let me just kind of introduce myself. And my name is Danae Peterson, just in case you didn't know how to pronounce my name. It's tricky. It's okay. And I'm going to do my best not to stare at comments or things, but if you can just give me a thumbs up or something just to let me know that things are working, then that would be great. So I have been married since I was 19. And thank you, Tracy. I've been married since I was 19, and I have 2 kids now. With my first son, I had postpartum depression pretty much the majority of the entire year that he was a baby. And I didn't really know that I had it. It didn't manifest itself the same way that I guess I was expecting it to. And so I just kind of chalked it up to, whatever, I must just be having signs of a period, but no period. So that was really disconcerting, but I knew I had a history of postpartum depression in my family, so I was constantly on the lookout for it, except I didn't see it until, I don't want to say until it was too late, but just until I was really far past just mildly depressed, baby blues kind of depressed. So I have gone through this twice with both of my kids, and I think I'll probably struggle with postpartum depression with all my kids, and that's okay, because I feel like I have an arsenal of tools and resources and kind of what I like to call my shields to help me fight through those days that are really hard. I'm not going to promise you that you're not going to have hard days if you do some of the things that I recommend, but I am going to promise you that you're going to see things happen to help you feel a little bit more confident in your ability to just make it through another day, because sometimes that's all you can do as a mom is just make it through another day and try again the next day. So let me just kind of talk to you a little bit about something called a trigger. A trigger is something that basically triggers your depression. This could be postpartum depression. This could be any tendency towards anxiety or depression that you have as a person in general, because many people struggle with that. And so the trigger that really set things off was a second year, I believe it was our second year anniversary. Yeah, I think it was our anniversary, and we went on a trip for a few days. We left Joshua with my mom. He was a baby, and we went to California. And this isn't something that I usually talk about very much, and so I hope that you guys can relate a little bit, but I went on this trip, and it was a trip that I'd taken with my family with a high school boyfriend that things didn't really go super well. I didn't make choices that I'm proud of, and I struggled and have struggled for 7 or 8 years trying to forgive myself for those choices that I made that, Heavenly Father, God forgave me forever ago because he's, that's the way he works. But I have this perfectionist mentality, and so I held on almost to a grudge against myself for years, and I just kind of ignored it for a really long time, and then it came back out. That guilt, that overwhelming feeling of oh my gosh, I'm such a crappy person. All of these different feelings came out on this second year anniversary trip. And the week after that, we had this trip, it went well enough, but I could tell that my husband was a little bit what the heck is wrong with my wife? And I kind of originally chalked it up to that monthly, week at a time, that I was just going to feel kind of cruddy. And I didn't really think anything of it. And then 1 week went by, and I didn't start feeling any better. And another week went by. And it got to a point where I was feeling totally lifeless, and I was feeling disconnected from the people that I knew that I loved, including my son. And honestly, I had struggled for the majority of my postpartum period with him, with feeling connected to him, because I felt like motherhood just didn't turn out to be all that I had dreamed, I guess. Like it's not all like flowers and butterflies and rainbows. Like motherhood is hard work. And I just felt awkward. I was weighed down. I felt like I was drowning because I didn't know why I was having all of these thoughts. I was having a lot of negative thoughts about myself, a lot of negative thoughts towards my family, a lot of like harm intending thoughts, and they scared the crap out of me. And I didn't want to talk about them because I was afraid if I talked about them, they would be more real. And to me, that was like terrifying. I didn't want them to actually happen. Like I never would have wanted that to happen. But they just kept coming back, and they were just like little stabs all over the place. And it finally got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore, and I cracked and started crying after spilling an entire banana cream pie all over myself. I had made it for my husband's birthday, and long story short, I didn't put it in the freezer. It was, liquidy, and so it ended up all over me on the 15-minute drive to our family dinner that Sunday, and I just couldn't get a hold of it. Okay, so that was what happened, and then from there I went through these different phases that I want to talk to you about. But before I talk about that, I want to kind of allude to something called a Patronus. If you have never read Harry Potter, just to kind of briefly explain what a Patronus is, it's a magical guardian that you have to summon with a spell. And during that spell, you are, well, first off, you're summoning the Patronus. You're summoning the Patronus to protect you from what's called a dementor. And a dementor is a magical creature that sucks the joy and the life out of your soul. And it's not a pleasant experience. It leaves an empty shell. It doesn't kill you, but it leaves you feeling empty. And to a point you can't even tell that you would be feeling empty anymore. For me, that's what depression is. It's like a dementor. It sucks the life out of me. It causes me to think negative things all the time, dark thoughts, those kinds of things. So the Patronus spell requires whoever is summoning the Patronus to think of the happiest experience of their life. It doesn't necessarily have to be the singular only happy experience in their life, because we've had many happy and joyful experiences. But just to think and focus on those positive experiences, those positive interactions, and in spite of the fear and the despair that the Dementor is bringing into their life. They, however, have to make a choice. It's not something that just happens. It's not something that is done without effort and constant effort. It's something they have to stick with it long enough to feel the burden lifted and keep focused on that. And then they also have to maintain it. It's not something that you can just do once and, boom, happy thought, I'm good. If you stop thinking happy thoughts and focusing on that happy experience, then the Dementor will have more power. So I can't promise you, like I said earlier, I can't promise you that if you're struggling with depression or anxiety, if you're struggling with the baby blues, just because you maybe just had a baby, I can't promise you that you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to feel a million times better if you implement any of the things that I talk about here. But I can promise you that if you can do them over time, it will help. So, step 1, or phase 1, get some help. Don't try and do it by yourself. I tried to do that for 11 months, and, well, not 11 months, but for 7 months, and it sucks. Don't do it by yourself. Talk to people. Talk to your family. Talk to your close friends. If you can and it's available, get a counselor. Counseling was what my husband called my most expensive friend. I just had this lady that I talked to, and I would go once a week, once every other week, and then once a month. I just kind of gradually moved away, and now she knows that I'm doing okay, and if I need her, I can reach out in a text. I can talk, I can talk through things, but I can also talk, with my husband. I can talk with my good friends. I can talk with you guys because I'm comfortable with that now. So you have your own level of craziness, and just because you feel like yours is not as bad as, say, Susie over down the street, does not make it any less important for you to get the help that you need and for you to be communicating and talking about it. Because as soon as you talk about it, this is something Brene Brown talks about. If you haven't ever heard of Brene Brown, go look her up. She's so good. But if you've never talked about any of the problems or the feelings, the thoughts that you've been having, they're going to have the most power over you, and it's scary. It's honestly the most terrifying thing that you'll ever have to do in your life. But as soon as you give voice to those thoughts and those fears and those anxieties, those worries, as I like to call them, then they have way less power over you. It's like as soon as you give them voice, they kind of run away a little bit. Now, they can come back, okay? That's why you have to be consistent in daily habits. Hi, guys. I'm just going to say hi to everyone. I think I see Samantha and Aubrey and Centacular Monson. I need you to type me your name because I don't actually remember it off the top of my head right now. I'm all nervous. Okay, so get help, whether that's talking, thank you, Lisa, whether that's talking to a health professional, talking to a psychiatrist, talking to your family if you're LDS or if you are religious, talking to your church leaders, getting the help that you need when you need it, and praying for the help that, you don't know that you need. Let's see. Okay, so the other thing as far as getting help goes is like so many people, there's this stigmatism about getting help for depression, getting help for anxiety, and that you shouldn't have to get a medication, because if you have to get a medication, you're going to have all these bad side effects, and you're going to have this, and that go wrong, and like you're going to just like feel like crap because you're taking this medication. I disagree. I do not want to be on medication the rest of my life, but for the period of postpartum when this is the biggest struggle for me, finding the medication that worked for me has been invaluable in the last year and a half almost. So I've been taking Wellbutrin since about June-ish, and my doctor still wants me to take it because it's something that, you can't just like suddenly stop. Otherwise, that will make you a little crazy. But don't feel like you can't reach out. Even if you're doing healthy things, you're doing the things that you can do, to be healthy with your physical and mental health. It doesn't mean that you can't ask for more help and that you can't accept that a medication can help you. Now, like, I'm not trying to say that natural remedies don't work. They totally do. But just get the help that's most important for you now to function in your daily life, because it will help a ton if you can just start to function. So next thing, sorry, I'm trying to like move through this quickly. Start taking time for yourself. Find a passion, find a hobby that you've been avoiding or not doing for a while. Stop watching Netflix all day and reality TV. Stop sleeping through the whole afternoon and do something for yourself. Get ready for the day. Craft, do some decorating, go to Hobby Lobby, like take some shop therapy. Ask for help so that you can have a date night with your husband or your significant other, and cut the draining activities away, because those are the things that are only going to make you feel worse. I can promise you anytime, even now, that I watch Netflix for more than one episode, maybe once or twice a week, I can feel it. I can feel drained, and I feel the comparison kind of thing sucking the life out of me. Okay, so take the time for you that is meaningful. Okay. Step 3, listen or read to some positive things. So if you're religious, this could mean listening to scriptures, listening to general conference talks, for those of you who are LDS like I am. From LDS means Mormon, for anyone who doesn't know what LDS means. And just listen to something positive. And I totally 100% agree that spiritual uplifting material is something we all need in our life. But I also 100% agree that you need something more than that. You need self-help books. And I didn't ever know what a self-help book was until I started coaching. So, some ideas. The Miracle Morning. It talks about, the author is a guy who has overcome depression in his life, and he's done it by utilizing something he calls the Miracle Morning. The Go-Giver, like just listening or reading to the Go-Giver series and learning how to serve others and put others first, but at the same time taking care of yourself, just to improve the world around you. If you're struggling with anxiety, a book called The Worry Trick is amazing. I Am That Girl, and of course I already mentioned her, but anything by Brene Brown. Sorry, that is seriously like reading or listening for at least 10 minutes every day, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. Super simple. It's doable for anyone, I promise. And it will help you so much in managing how you feel every day. Number four is to be grateful. Like, write out things you are grateful for. I have a gratitude journal now, and I journal 2 to 3, sometimes 3 to 5 items a day, where I'm just writing down the things that I'm grateful for. It's nothing crazy. I try not to write the exact same thing every single day, but gratitude is something that literally fights and shields against depression. Because when you're grateful for something, it's harder to look for the negative, and it's harder for your brain to focus on the negative because you've already focused on the positive at the beginning of the day. Okay, so that's just kind of brief little thing there about positive words. Another thing is do affirmations. Like, I have Post-its. If you've ever seen my kitchen videos, I have Post-its all over my kitchen, and they say things like, I am a good mom, I am a happy wife, I am grateful, I am confident, I am overcoming my trials, like all of these just different things that apply to me in my life and remind me that, like, I can do hard things. And saying those out loud gives you power over the negative thoughts. It gives you power over the negative feelings that you've had over time. So that, like, really, words have so much power. We talk about it all the time in the sense of, like, talking to other people, but we don't realize how much talking to ourselves can impact us. And so if you start talking to yourself in a more positive way, that will help. The last and final thing, and I feel like I've probably talked for way too long. I'm sorry. I'll get better at this. The last thing is that you need to cultivate healthy habits. Physical healthy habits. All of the things I talked about up above, or before, those are ways to cultivate mentally healthy habits. But you need to be cultivating physical healthy habits every single day. That means doing some kind of exercise. It means eating better. Taking the time to learn how to meal prep and to learn how to eat healthy. It doesn't have to be insane. You don't have to go like all crazy paleo, or not that people who do paleo are crazy, but just, you don't have to do anything intense. You just need to be taking the time to make an effort to learn something new. Lounging around all day long and watching Netflix, or spending days at the mall and just wandering around, those are things that are going to suck the life out of you. You need to get out of the house sometimes, but you can't be out of the house all the time, or you're just avoiding your own life. I want you to, like, promise me that you're gonna start taking care of yourself, because taking care of yourself and limiting sugar literally is like drugs to your brain. And I still like sugar, 100% admitting that. But it is a drug to my brain, and the more sugar that I eat, the more likely I am to feel tired and to feel depressed and to feel negative about things. I'm much more likely to snap at my kids and be impatient if I have too much sugar in my body, or too much processed foods, things like that. So taking the time in your day to exercise, even if it's just for 5 to 10 minutes, get some physical activity for you. And it needs to be like focused physical activity, whether that's that you run for 5 minutes on the treadmill, or that you do a home workout program for 10 to 15, 20, 30 minutes. It's nothing crazy, but you need to be taking the time to do that. It's going to lessen the effects of depression. And if you go talk to a doctor, the first thing that they're going to ask you is, are you exercising? I promise. Because I've talked to multiple doctors, and they all of them have asked me, first off, are you exercising? And I know, for me, I can say that I do now, but the first time that I went through this, I wasn't. I was trying, at least I thought I was trying, but I was too stuck in a rut to feel like I could do it myself. So that kind of leads into a little bit more of what I wanted to talk about just here at the end. I do these things called I'm calling them a Joy Fit Girl Club, because I want to help you learn how to find joy in your journey. And I want to help you do that while overcoming all of the different things that we've talked about, the mindset, the physical limitations, the eating habits, those kinds of things. They're things that you need support to do, especially if you're struggling with depression. You need the support, you need the accountability, you have to be clear on your goals, you need a place. You can do that. And if you go to a gym, how many of you actually get a phone call if you miss a gym class? Unless you have a personal trainer that you're paying hundreds for, then you're probably not going to get a phone call oh my gosh, you didn't make it to the gym today, you better come because it's going to help your depression, it's going to help you feel better. No, they're not going to do that. My groups do that. That's what I am there for. I have the resources that I can show you and the support to help you manage these different 5 daily habits. And it's a mindset thing, it's a physical habits thing. They go hand in hand and they cannot be separated. So if you only focus on your mindset, you will never just stick with mindset, because you're going to start having healthier habits as a byproduct of that. So if you're interested in doing that and in joining me on this journey for the month of April and potentially the rest of your life, as long as you're willing to stick with me, then I want you to message me, or I will post a link below and you can apply to be a part of my April Joy Fit group, because you need this, okay? You need this. And if I hadn't had this when my son turned 11 months, I don't think I would be here today. I would still be struggling. I would still be having ups and downs every single month, and I wouldn't know what to do about it, okay? That's the thing, is that I still have my ups and downs. I still have negative days, but I know what to do about it, because I can point exactly to what I missed. And if I missed something specific in my daily habits, like for longer than maybe a day or two, then it's going to affect me, okay? And I feel like that sounds overwhelming. It sounded overwhelming to me, but it helps to stay consistent in the small things, okay? So I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry that I talked like a million years, and I would love to hear your thoughts and your ideas on what you do to combat your own, your own negative thoughts, things like that. So post those in the comments, and I look forward to talking to the rest of you soon.